Hi, this is our data analysis project about the bike rental business. I'm Aiden Burns, and I was also in the group with Saad Almubarak and Natalia Boudreaux. A little bit of an overview about the company. We rent bikes for getting around a city or other areas for a small fee. We're based out of stations placed around a city for easy access to anyone that wants to ride the bikes or rent them. The bikes are made to be universal size, so anybody can ride them that wants to. And usually the use can be affected by weather, climate, safety, parking availability, and also some other different aspects. Our customers are very concerned with the value they get out of the bike rentals. They usually will pay more for a more pleasant experience. Um, the company can raise the price to make a better bike, but they also have to keep the price low enough to where customers are going to keep renting them and not think that the price is too high. The main goal is keeping the highest price where customers will keep renting them, but also giving a high value to the customer to keep them interested. We usually have them use a phone app or internet to rent the bike, which is very attractive to the customers as it makes it really easy for them to rent the bikes, and it's also efficient, which just goes back to creating higher value for the customers. The demand for the bikes is usually based on location, weather, season, things like that. The rentals are much more popular in high population areas, of course, because there's a lot more people, and also places where traffic is high often because people will rather ride a bike than use a car or something and have to sit in traffic where they could avoid it by renting the bike. Um, there's high demand in the work week as customers want to get to work quickly and not have to sit in traffic in their cars, of course. So during those work week hours, we do have a lot of business. There's also high demand on the weekends, though, from tourism and people in the cities enjoying the weekend, enjoying the weather, that just want to be outside, around and about in the city for entertainment and things like that. Now, during the weekdays, the rentals are highest from 8 to 5, which is those normal work hours, and the weekends it goes later into the night till around 10 p.m. as people are out later, enjoying themselves, you know, later at night. The weather is also a big factor, as really hot weather and really cold weather will keep people from wanting to ride the bikes, and the demand is usually lower then. But cool weather and warmer weather, but not too hot, the demand stays pretty high. Things such as rain will keep people away from the bike rentals as well. So demand is also lower when the weather is not so good, and things like snow as well. Depending on certain factors, the type of product the business offers can change. For places like in the city, they can offer normal bikes and also e-bikes. But at the beach, maybe only normal bikes, since the e-bikes could be damaged at the beach with the water and salt and things like that. It's just not good for them. A lot of thought goes into whatever the customer want the most in whichever location. It usually is planned ahead of time, but it all relates back to whatever will create the most value and demand for the product in whichever area the bikes are going to be put. This is our first model. It's the decision tree where we had the best outcome in node 123 and the worst outcome was for node 64, and you can see the rules there and what we found from that. In the second decision tree model, the best outcome was in node 3 and the worst was in node 2. And you can see there one was much better than the other. One was all the way high and one was all the way low. So for our cluster analysis, Segment 1 had a close to average registered, casual, atemp, temp, and humidity count. Segment 2 had below average working day count, higher than average casual day of week registered, atemp, and temp count. Segment 3 had a higher than average holiday count. Segment 4 had a below average atemp, temp, casual, and humidity count, and a pretty close to average registered and wind speed count. Segment 5 had a below average day of week count, higher than average registered, atemp, temp, and working day count, and a pretty close to average humidity and casual count. And lastly, segment 6 had a lower than average registered and casual, higher than average humidity, and close to average temp, weather, wind speed, and atemp. For our first visualization, we have a bar graph here, and which shows the sum of rentals by season and also year, and it can be filtered by year and season. And you can see the highest demand for each season and also be used for forecasting upcoming years and seasons demand. The spring has the lowest demand out of all the seasons, which is interesting to see and can also help you decide how you want to improve it. For our second visualization, we have a line graph, and it shows the sum of rentals each month throughout a year. And you can see in the middle, summer months, May, June, July, August, the rentals are the highest, and then in the colder months during the winter, the rentals are the lowest. So there's a decrease in demand when it gets cooler, and then it slowly starts to rise again once the temperature warms up. For our third visualization, it shows the sun count in AM or PM, and there's filters for the year and month. And this shows us where there are more AM or PM rentals and which weeks they are more or less for. For the fourth visualization, it shows the weather's effect on rentals. And then on the y-axis, we can see the severity of weather increases, and on the x-axis, it shows the amount of rentals. So as the weather decreases along the line, the rentals go up exponentially. So we had a few recommendations after our analysis for the company. I think the biggest one would be to have rolling prices for the bike rentals. So the prices would be adjusted based on the demand levels. So depending on the weather, the time of day, the season, and things, you could lower the price when the demand is low to attract more customers to rent the bikes. And when demand is higher, you can raise the price and people still want to rent the bikes because it's because they wanted to ride them anyways, so they'll be willing to pay a little bit higher price. We also decided that you could create an account, and this would give you a lower rental rate, and we could make up the difference by showing ads in the app or things like that. And then the third thing would be to allow monthly memberships where you would pay one fee a month, and you could have a plan like unlimited rentals, so where you can just pay once and you can ride the bike whenever you want. And this is good for companies usually to have a consistent monthly income. It has shown to be better for a lot of companies as having a consistent income instead of just one-time purchases, because it allows them to know that they'll have a certain amount of money each month coming in instead of not knowing how much they'll be making. But I think if they did these things, it could become a little bit better performing business. And that's about all. Thanks.